Thank you so much. We are going to the presentations, two presentations, to, I hope, inspire you a bit more about some things and some developments that are going to be and already going on right now. So we start with Lina Galvez Munoz. She's postgraduate and lifelong learning vice-chancellor of the Pablo de Olavide University. And I'm very curious because I would like to ask her a question before she starts. Because I read on the internet that you're also working at a radio station, or you have a sort of a program or a column, or?
Well, I have a column
in the Correo de Andalusia.
Yeah, in one newspaper, and also I participate every week in a radio program.
You're in a radio program on the radio.
Yeah.
And what do you tell people on the radio?
Well, we comment what's happening in the world, in our country, in our region. It's just commenting what is happening.
Yeah, and it always goes about gender, or are there other subjects going on?
No. Every single subject that is going on. The only thing is that I try to, obviously, to include gender as much as I can, and because sometimes, you know, it's something that is not considered. For instance, if we talk about a blonde girl, like something normal, maybe it's not that normal for someone of us to listen that. So I try to include a gender perspective as much as I can.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, very good. Thank you. Okay, it's your word right now.
Okay, So thank you very much for inviting me here in such a fascinating project and an important project, I think. Thank you very much to Andalusian government and all of the members for this invitation. I also apologize for my English. I have preferred to do the presentation in English instead of Spanish, because I think maybe later on we could sort of discuss some issues. But I have to say that no native English has checked my PowerPoint, so I'm really sorry if there are any sort of mistakes or who knows, invented words or something. So I really apologize. I'm going to sort of talk about the main issue of the project, but including it in the context of crisis we are. Could you please? I will deal especially with this changing framework. I think we have encountered while doing this project, because we started in one Europe. I think we are ending the project in a quite different Europe, in the middle of a deep economic and financial crisis, and we could also say, a bit sadly, in also the middle of political crisis regarding European construction. Well, at least it had been quite obvious in the last month. And that is how, as a consequence, sort of a, or at least a lot of citizens in the European Union has the idea that Europe has become a bit less social, maybe. Let's say if that is true or not. And we are seeing an increasing process of divergence within the European Union, especially from sort of southern countries and sort of core countries. And well, we are seeing what is happening, especially in Greece or in Italy now, and in Spain as well. So the challenges the European Union faced when we started this project, well, the ones that was this demographic crisis, aging population all over race, gender inequality and reconciliation problems, low activity rate, especially for women, poverty risk and social exclusion, poverty challenges regarding new family structures, immigrant population exclusion, have become more difficult to face because of the economic crisis, especially from May in 2012, from what is called now the debt crisis. And as a consequence, I think of also of our own policies to combat the crisis that, in my opinion, they had been not the right ones. These deflationist policies that are not creating more equality, but inequality, more and more inequality, and also the role played by the European Central Bank that is not, well, is in Maastricht, obviously, is not working as other central bankers that are leading money directly to countries, but leading through banks. And this has created the debt crisis that has pushed many governments towards a terrible financial situation where they are cutting on social expenditure or public employment, just a couple of examples. And also increasing the privatization of social services. And this is a different, say, framework and challenge this. As a matter of fact, the crisis is leading to an increase in inequality in income and gender and among regions or countries, and creating a bigger risk of poverty, social exclusion, and lack of capabilities, especially for children, that will last long, not only during the period of the crisis, but if you're a kid and faced all these problems, probably you will have your lack of capabilities, lack of possibilities of being the rest of your life. So we have to be quite aware of what is happening. And this is all that is also challenging the models of provision of care. The provision of care could be, this is obviously a theoretical model, so it's not a pure model anyway. So this, if we have a sort of a diamond, a care diamond, and the provision of care could sort of shift or be more concentrated in one of the vertices, in one of the borders of the diamond. So in some places, the state, it provides, well, the state has also a different role, because the state is not only the provider of care and well-being, but it's also the one that regulates the model in a way, together with culture and so on. But the state has a different, play a different role than the rest of the spaces, let's say. So the provision of care could be more provided by the state. In other places, it goes most through the market. In others, more family provision, like for instance in Southern European countries. And in other places, many, for instance, developing countries, the civil society plays a more important role than other places and this is important, because depending on towards which border the provision of care is concentrated, societies will be more or less egalitarian in terms of income or in terms of gender, and individuals will be much or less demercantilized or defamiliarized, let's say, could be more independent on their position in the labor market, or be more or less independent on the having or not a family network. So, for instance, societies that the provision of care is going mainly through the market, obviously, depending on your income, you will have much or less possibilities, and you will be not much mercantilized. If the provision of care is mainly provided by the family, those countries or those regions with that model obviously will generate a lot of gender inequalities, because, as we know and as we will see, still household and care, non-paid household and care work is mainly done by women in every single country in the world, in every single country in the world. And it's not only the care for dependent people, it's also the care for independent people, because all of us need someone to take care of us too. And it's we have, my research team, we have been research and studying in the last year the European time use and other countries' time use data, and is fascinating because sometimes the big difference on time use, the time men and women spend on caring and doing work for the household, does not start to increase when the first kid arrives, but when they start to live together, heterosexual couples, okay? Because then probably we will see the difference between homosexual couple, especially if they are married. So is this caring also of the household in general and the independent, what is also taking this big difference? So, if, for instance, if we take the Andalusian case, is the region I came for, this is the total work done in Andalusia. So in blue you have women, and in sort of reddish you have men. And if you in the superior part you have paid work, and as you see, women only do 26.8% of total paid work. This is in hours. So it's not hours, time. It's not the unit is hour and minutes, obviously, and it's not, for instance, on terms of activity rates, because we know there are a lot of part-time, well, not in Spain, but in general in other places. So this is the part-time effect is not. You cannot see here because it's just time, is total time. But if you see that the lower part is time spent in household and care work, unpaid household and care work, women do 78% of this total work. That means that women are much more integrated on labor markets than men are on care and paid work. Okay, and the consequence of that is that women do much more work in total than men do. In fact, 56.2% in front of 43.8%. So there's this idea that women are underused. Maybe who are underused is the care possibilities of men. And now we are in a crisis of care, and maybe it's something we have to think about.